Why do fans tune in? Because for their individual team, they want to come into that weekend having reason to think their team's going to be better. And they don't want to hear your team's going to be worse. They don't want to hear that.
No,
so with that caveat, let's talk about some teams that had good or bad weekends. So give me one that you think had a good, no grades, just pass-fail. Give me a team that you think had a pass for the weekend.
Well, listen, this one's so good, I'll give it a grade. It's an A+. I don't care. I know we don't know yet, but at base level, and I've been around football a long time to know,
takes exposed.
Somewhat, I know.
Old takes exposed.
But, man, to me, again, the team that won the draft, if you make me pick one team, I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. And I know, you're right. We'll see how it plays out. We got to see how the season goes. But the Miami Dolphins continue to, show the NFL or give a lesson in team building. I mean, that's really where I just come away with it. I mean, first off with the first pick, with Waddle. You got the two big receivers on the outside and Gesicki at tight end. Now you got this guy with all these rockets up his butt flying around the field. Are you kidding me? Then you get the pass rusher, Jalen Phillips. It's the only thing they need on defense is maybe just a difference-making edge pass rusher. Oh, wait, they got the guy that's went to college in their city, so I'm sure they know really a ton about him, and so they get him. Javon Holland, the safety there. Just another – I think the thing that I like about it is they're kind of like a lot of their guys, even though we don't know how good they're going to be, I can sit here and tell you they're not going to be bad. They're going to be contributing to their football team. Holland was a really good safety, one of the best in the draft. You get Liam Eichenberg, an NFL-ready right now left tackle from Notre Dame who can play guard and has played guard. So now they got him, contributor, high-end backup right off the bat. And then Hunter Long. Hunter Long is a big blocking, tight end who has a little value in the pass game. So to me, the way they thought out the draft, the picks they made, a little bit of, aggressiveness and, hey, we'll take a chance on a Jalen Phillips. We think the risk is worth the reward there and all of that. I was just blown away by the Dolphins draft.
I wonder how aggressively they tried to trade out of the 6th spot, though, because we had heard that they wanted to. And, of course, more teams would like to trade down than trade up, and you have to find someone who's willing to make that move. And you look at how the board played out. No one was really trying to get that high. The Eagles wanted to get back into the top 10 to jump the Giants and get Devontae Smith, a guy that many thought the Dolphins would take at 6. But I just wonder, it could have been even better because maybe they could have fallen down a few spots, still gotten a high-end receiver, and picked up more draft capital that could have been used this weekend or next year when the 2022 draft rolls around. I'm going to give some praise here to the Falcons for a couple of reasons. I've mentioned in the past that the Falcons just kept their mouths shut. They said all the predictable things that you're supposed to say. It's not like they went full-blown New England Patriots and gave us nothing. But they didn't get into this public monologue of what are we going to do with the 4th overall pick? Are we going to go quarterback? I mean, they kind of shut that down before it could take on a life of its own. Remember the reporting that there was a split between Tom Fontenot, the new GM, who wanted a quarterback, and Arthur Smith, the head coach, who wanted to stick with Matt Ryan. They slammed the door on that a few weeks ago, and it never came back. Dude at the laptop is kind of standing. Look at the guy sitting. Everybody else is celebrating, and the young guy's in his phone. Isn't that a perfect snapshot of life in 2021? The old people are actually living in the moment, and the young guy's living in his phone. Anyway, I got to give him credit for squashing that idea that they're going to replace Matt Ryan. Not that they could have taken Trey Lance anyway because he went number 3. They go with Kyle Pitts. Their draft is all about trying to make chicken salad out of a bad cap situation and hoping that maybe they can keep Matt Ryan around. I mean, he's 36. Has he turned 36 yet?
I think he has. I think he has,
He turns 36 this month. He's still got football left in him. He's still got plenty left. I interviewed him before the season started. He's not a guy who's, in that, well, this is my last year or two. And I think that they decided, instead of trying to find the next franchise quarterback, let's just keep the one that we have.
Yeah, that's right.
And let's work on putting some pieces around him. Even if they subtract Julio Jones, and I still think that that's on the table, but I just feel like top to bottom, it was about turning the page on this mud that they've been spinning their wheels in ever since 28-3, and let's go forward. And we don't have to change quarterbacks to go forward. We can put new pieces around him and try to do it that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we talked about this a lot before the draft. That made sense. I mean, again, the day and age we're in right now, 36 is just not an old quarterback. You shouldn't even be looking to replace a guy that's like played like Matt Ryan has the last 2 years. So that's where I think that's like a good move by the organization. Well, why give something away and do that when it's still really good and give it away for something where you're not sure how good it's going to be? We hope, we think, we don't know. I mean, that is where I think it is the wise move there. That you can always make a move for the quarterback in the future. You don't know what's going to happen. We just saw a team go from 12-3 this year and make those type of moves. So you can do what you got to do when the time comes to get it done. There's no doubt about it. So I'm with you with the Falcons and their logic there.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but when you think of what the 49ers gave up to go from 12-3, just remember that when teams are circling the drain in December and we talk about tanking, that there is real value in finishing, as bad as you can. Once you know it's done, there is value because then you don't have to give up multiple first-round picks to get in position to get that quarterback you may want. By the way, Matt Ryan turns 36 May 17. He is still
35. Okay.
35 for now.
Yeah.
For another 2 weeks. So enjoy your last 2 weeks, Matt, of 35. 36 is coming. The end of career not coming. All right. Give me a team that you think had a bad draft, that had a C+ draft, because that's the lowest grade that was given out, or something that made you just kind of scratch your head and say, what the hell are they thinking?
I think the New Orleans Saints might be the one that I think that, I mean, it's hard to go negative, but first off, because you judge a lot of it on the first and second round, and a lot of those are the top players you watch. But hey, Peyton Turner at the end of the first round, no, I mean, that was a shocker to me. I like the player of Peyton Turner. I did not at any point in my evaluation think he was a first-round type talent. And I'll throw that on top of their second-round pick and Pete Warner from Ohio State too. Again, solid player, but to me, not the athlete or the specimen to be a second-round pick. So those were head-scratchers to me. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I know that. But, yeah, I mean, with Peyton Turner, I just felt like there was more impressive people on the board. Joe Tryon from Washington, who the Bucs took. Rousseau from Miami, of course, him as well. Just the potential and the size of that human being, everything there. So I think the Saints one would be one that, yeah, kind of was a little bit of a head-scratcher to me, their first two picks especially.
We had heard so much about the Saints trying to trade up all the way into the top 10. And the thinking was they just got trapped in no man's land there at 28, and they took Peyton Turner. Although, if you're looking for a defensive end, I mean, Gregory Rousseau, that guy is a giant. And, I tend to gravitate a little more to the guys we've gotten to know during the process, but 6'7", the picture of him shaking the hands of Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, it is jarring how large that human being is. And he had 15.5 sacks in his 1 year of playing, and they left him on the board for Peyton Turner instead. So, I agree with you. That was a little bit of a head-scratcher. For me, I hate to keep bringing it back to the Packers, but
it's
weekend,
okay.
The whole weekend was a disaster for them. Now, they finally did draft a receiver named A. Rodgers, which is just kind of strange, right? And you just wonder, did they think about not taking the guy because they were going to be stuck with those comparisons? But the way they handled the draft last year, how many teams could we point to saying the way you handled last year's draft ended up clouding in a very negative way the perception of this year's draft? And look, I can't be overtly critical of any of the guys they picked. You got help on the offensive line.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a good pick.
Have a quarterback one way or the other. Eric Stokes, we don't know how he's going to pan out. He wasn't regarded as one of the top defensive backs.
No, that was a little weird to me.
Yeah. But I would have liked to have seen a receiver before round 3. I almost feel like there's a certain amount of intransigence that happens with the Packers now because they don't want people telling them how to run their team. They don't want their quarterback telling them how to run their team. They don't want anyone telling them how to run their team. And they almost resist drafting a receiver in round 1 because they don't want to give in to everyone who's saying, why aren't you drafting a receiver in round 1?
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be some sort of stubbornness there to a degree. Now, listen, the formula in which they believe in and they are, steadfast to stay with, hey, it produces results. There's no doubt. They've been relevant. It's something good. There's no doubt about it. The problem is, just because we're on this now, they just never deviate from it. Never. It's like, yeah, we can have the conversation and go, hey, they've been really good for 20-something years now. Or you could have the conversation and go, wait, they've had 2 of the 5 greatest quarterbacks in the history of the sport, and they've won 2 Super Bowls, 1 with each. That to me is not good enough when you lay it down like that. But, yeah, I mean, you're right. The whole weekend was weird for the Packers. And it wasn't like I came away going like, oh, wow. They killed it. They did a good job. I think the center, good player out of Ohio State. That's good. We know they needed that. But when you talk about the corner there at the end of the first, yeah, a little controversial there to me, in my opinion. I think there was better ones to be had in the second round. His teammate from Georgia, the kid the Cowboys took, I would have taken them, but we'll see how that plays out. And Amari Rodgers is a good little player, definitely. But I don't think that's going to, what do I want to say? Feed the appetite of Rodgers and make him feel like all better now or anything like that.
Doesn't matter. No, the issues are so much bigger than whether or not they picked a receiver round 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter anymore. It's over. That's the reality that's going to sink in. It's over. And it would be so awkward at this point for him to what would they even begin to do? Whatever they would have to do to get him to swallow his pride and play for the Packers again, they're just not going to do. So it's just a question of how this divorce unfolds. Does he not play for them and pay them back a ton of money? Does he go host Jeopardy if he's offered that gig? Do they finally throw their hands in the air and trade him? Does it happen during the season like it did with Carson Palmer? I think that's how that all plays out.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.